Creativity is a pretty scary word. That's if we let it become a scary word. Now, it can be scary because when we think of creativity, we often think of those sort of more specialist talents. We think about art, we think about drawing, dance, graphics, design, writing, and so on. These traditionally creative activities. Now, if that's our perception of creativity, then rightly so, we might feel a little bit daunted by that if we don't do those activities very well ourselves, and we might then start to label ourselves as, well, uncreative. But the point is, creativity isn't scary because it's what you can achieve. It's not relative, it's not measuring yourself against some sort of other level or talent or skill. It's about how you can use your mind to come up with better ideas and think differently. Now, one of the reasons we're perhaps not more creative is the way we kind of grow and develop. When we're young, when we're at school, we're taught that we're taught critical thinking. We're taught what is the right answer, and we're taught what is the wrong answer. If we didn't get things right, we wouldn't pass our tests, we wouldn't pass our exams, we wouldn't develop and grow into adult life. However, creativity actually requires us to look beyond sort of what is right and on face value and start to find alternatives. Now, this is a thing which isn't always recognised and rewarded. So rightly so, it's quite difficult for us to actually get into the habit of doing. Now, I'm going to give you an example of what I believe is the world's greatest creator and innovator, and that is Mother Nature. Yes, Mother Nature. When nature creates animals and plants, what happens is there are lots of genetic mutations. These create random adaptations. There's no knowing if that's going to be better or worse. The point is, nature just gets on and does it. It gets on, it creates new features, and then sees if they work. So it's not passing any judgment before it's given a chance to actually test. What we find in ourselves is we often we don't have the right beliefs that we can create good ideas. So we start to judge too early. This is our critical yes, right or wrong mode kicking in. And we don't allow ourselves to come up with these multitudes of sometimes quite silly or wacky or flawed ideas. The other thing about creativity is we often believe it's got to be a big thing. It's going to be quite something that changes the way we think. It's going to change the way we do things, and it's going to create a huge impact. Well, creativity can even be the smallest of things. It can just be the smallest of changes of thoughts and ideas and behaviours. I want to give you an example of this as well. I was recently on the London Tube on the Underground, and it was a horrific journey. The train was delayed, severely delayed, stuck at the red light, not moving. It was packed. Everyone was getting agitated and frustrated, starting to curse and swear and get very kind of annoyed. You could see it. Then the driver made some announcements over the tannoy, and basically the driver said, "Hello everyone, we're stuck here. I can't give you an explanation of why we're not moving yet, but whilst we're here, why not take this opportunity to turn to your left, say hello to your neighbour, shake their hands, give them a hug." And everyone suddenly relaxed and started smiling. This driver had a great character. He knew that it was a bad situation, and he knew he could just diffuse it by injecting a little bit of humour. This is not in the London Underground's training manual. This guy, just the smallest he had a bit of awareness of what's going on. He knew that he could make a change, he could make a difference, just the smallest of actions. And that is what creativity is all about. It's being aware, it's being able to think differently, it's being able to adapt to situations. And hopefully, this is what we're going to be able to do together. We're going to be able to see new ways, we're going to expand our mind, and we're going to be able to just come up with better ways of thinking. I'd like you to indulge me for a second as we play a little game. In a minute I'm going to ask you to grab a piece of paper and a pen, and I'd like you to draw a space monster. Yeah, that's right, a creature from outer space. I'd like you to just use your imagination and do a nice big drawing of what you think your space monster might look like. Now, whilst you're drawing your monster, I'd like you to pause the video and we can then see the results on the other side. Okay, you should now have in front of you a magnificent drawing of a space creature. I actually joined in, and here is mine, right? So mine has antennae, it has big old eyes, it has a mouthful of sharp teeth, and it has lots of tentacles. But I've never seen a space monster before. I've never been abducted by aliens. I don't know if you have. Probably not. So how come we can draw a space monster? Well, it's something called structured imagination. Because we've already seen these elements before, we've seen animals and creatures with the variety of objects and features we have here, we can piece them together into something new. Now, structured imagination can get in the way when we're trying to create novel ideas. Essentially, we're kind of rehashing what we already know. So when it comes to novelty, new creative ideas, the old stuff isn't going to cut it. So we're going to have to learn, we have to recognise where we have this structured imagination and learn some techniques to combat it. And we'll be doing this throughout the course.